There were three people that were champions in AEW at the exact same time in 2021. And now, in 2025, 4 years later, they are champions in WWE. Talking about CM Punk, Cody Rhodes, and Jade Cargill. Welcome into Squared Circle Radio Live immediately following Saturday night's main event. My name is Chris Belcher. Thank you for being with us. We don't normally go live on a Saturday night, but again, a semi-premium live event, I guess. I would say that with a show with all championship matches, a pretty important show. So we wanted to get on here and react about it. If you're joining us live on our YouTube channel, thank you so much for doing that. You're going to see me adjust myself here in the chair just a little bit. I'm a little off from where I was. I apologize. So I'm trying to get myself situated. There we go. I think that works. All right. If you're listening on podcast or you're watching the replay, don't worry about any of that. I appreciate you guys being with us. Like the video if you're on the YouTube channel, subscribe if you haven't already. And then, of course, on podcast, follow us, whatever platform that you have chosen. 5 stars is the best way to do that. All right, let's do it. Saturday night's main event is in the book. We normally always start with the main event and work our way backwards. That's exactly what we're going to do here tonight. CM Punk is the brand new World Heavyweight Champion, defeating Jey Uso for the vacant championship. Now, I will say this. I was shocked that Cody and Drew kicked off the night and that this was going to be the main event. Shocked. But I will say that I'm very glad that the World Heavyweight Championship got a spotlight on a big show like this. But it was very important for the show. And I feel like right then, I kind of anticipated that either Punk was going to win this sucker clean or there was going to be some sort of big angle at the end. With it being the main event, I ruled out a total schmoz finish that I predicted on our Monday show. So forget that prediction ever happened. So with it being the main event, I didn't think a schmoz would happen. So I anticipated Punk winning this one, and he did. So congratulations to CM Punk. He has proven my theory wrong of not being world champion in WWE on his return, and he finally is. And honestly, with Rollins out, he's the right person to carry this. He really is. He's the most popular wrestler on the show right now. So I think this being Punk's night is the right way to go. Honestly, as the match progressed, I was not entertained at all. I thought Jey Uso looked out of place in some spots. Of course, everybody online talking about the neck breaker spot. Looked like he was just late to some things or forgetting some things or whatever. Again, I say those things like I'm a wrestling expert. I'm not. It's what it seemed. I don't know though. Regardless, throughout as the match was going, especially as the match ended, I was shocked that there was no involvement from the Vision. Like, I know Heyman told them, hey, let's play our cards right. We're in hot water with Adam Pearce already, etc., etc. I thought there would at least be them showing up. I don't know. Maybe they try to show up and Punk and Jey together fight them off and then Punk wins. I don't know. I just thought with the situation as it was and Braun Breaker being the one that was holding the title when Pierce had to get it, I would have had them interfere in some way. I don't know. But regardless, it is what it is, and we're going to react more on our Monday show coming up after we see what happens on Monday Night Raw this week. I found it very interesting that Jey Uso did not quite get the fan reaction that he normally does. Weren't as many people yeeting in the crowd. There were not as many people cheering him. In fact, during the ring introductions, Jay got some boos. So I don't know. I don't know. Saw some long stares by Jey Uso at the end of the match. Watching Punk celebrate with the championship. Gotta wonder what's going through his mind. Gotta wonder if he feels like he has to answer to the tribal chief. Gotta wonder what that looks like. I don't know. So what's next for Jey Uso? Well, I don't know. Lots of questions that he's going to have to ask himself. Basically saying he could do this on his own and he can't do it on his own. So lots of questions he'll have to ask or have to answer rather. What's next for CM Punk as the world champion? Well, I just mentioned the Vision and the Braun's not getting involved. Remember last week, Paul Heyman alluded to Brock Lesnar coming back. And it sure seems like there could be a chance that Brock Lesnar returns and attacks CM Punk. And maybe Brock Lesnar gets a shot at that World Heavyweight Championship. I don't know. We'll have to see. I don't know. But overall, I was quite disappointed in the wrestling portion of the main event. It kind of picked up towards the end. Had some interesting things in it. Jay locking in that sleeper hold. The way that he won the championship the first time was very interesting. Very cool. Did not expect that. Things picked up towards the end, and CM Punk is your new World Heavyweight Champion. So congratulations to Punk. We'll see what happens with it in the future. All right. Swig of Mountain Dew for the working man as we truck along on this 4-match card. I apologize if that was loud in the microphone, but here we are. Excuse me. Still dealing with these Tennessee changes in the weather and all this nonsense. It's crazy. Okay. Big news coming out of Saturday night's main event tonight. John Cena has announced there will be a 16-man tournament that will begin a week from this Monday in Boston on Monday Night Raw. And over the course of a few weeks, a winner will be determined, and that winner will face John Cena in his final match on December the 13th at Saturday night's main event, live from Washington, D.C. Now, it's been long speculated that there would be a tournament to face John Cena. And the rumor has been that Gunther would be the one to win this tournament. Now, in this video package that was shown with Cena announcing this, Gunther was shown in it as Cena went through the types of contestants that were going to be in the match. He said there would be some Raw guys, some SmackDown guys, some NXT guys, some guys that he's never faced before, and some guys that don't even work here. Oh, John giving us that nugget to keep Edge alive because that's what everybody wants. So he alluded to the fact, Michael Cole teased we would hear an announcement from John Cena about his final match coming up. And the way the video package started, he said this match was going to be about opportunity and about the same opportunity that he was given. And as he's saying that, it shows a video package of him coming down to the ring to face Kurt Angle. So immediately, I think John Cena open challenge and, whoever it ends up being, which some of these surprises that we think it might be, that would be the way to go to get them in to get the pop, because he's talking about all these guys or he's mentioning guys that don't even work here that could be in the match or in the tournament rather. Listen, as much as we want to see Chris Jericho or Edge, Batista's name's been thrown around, The Rock's name's been thrown around. As much as we want to see them face John Cena, we lose the instant reaction when they come out over and over to win this tournament. So it's almost like you have to create a situation where there's no winner and somebody just shows up as a surprise. I don't know exactly how they're going to do it. Because you talk about guys that don't even work for the company, that doesn't necessarily mean an Edge or a Jericho or a Batista. That could mean a Joe Hendry. He doesn't work there, technically. He could after this. You know, that could mean a bunch of people. You never know. So, I don't know. Let's look at this, though. Because, again, the rumors have been Batista would be his final opponent. And that would make sense because the match is going to be in Washington, D.C. That's Batista's hometown. And, of course, the Edge rumor has been floating around because he's been absent from AEW television. Probably not going to happen. Jericho has been tossed around. I think the Royal Rumble is a Chris Jericho return, but we'll have to see. I don't know. What I am going to do tonight, though, is this is instant reaction right here. That's why this episode is instant reaction. John Cena's final opponent will be determined by the winner of a 16-man tournament. I have picked out 16 names that I think, if I had the pencil, it's going to be a new segment on the show, by the way. If you're a regular watcher of the show. If I had the pencil, that's what it's going to be called. It'll be our new fantasy booking segment. So consider this maybe the first edition of If I Had the Pencil. All right. A pre-polished edition of If I Had the Pencil. Okay, here we go. The 16 men that will be, in my opinion, there goes Jey Uso. He's falling off the ledge back here if you're watching on YouTube. But I think he falls into the 16-man tournament to face John Cena. I think he's one of the participants. So 16 men. Let's go. Jey Uso. I think Drew McIntyre, who we saw lose earlier tonight, I think he's going to be in the tournament. I think the aforementioned Gunther will be in the tournament. Talk about young guys. How about Carmelo Hayes? I think Carmelo Hayes will be really good in this tournament. Young guys like Ricky Saints, the NXT champion. I think Ricky Saints will be in this tournament. I mentioned him earlier. I do think Joe Hendry finds his way into this 16-man tournament. I think John Cena addressed that it could be people that he's had previous issues with. So I think 3 guys that he's had previous issues with that find their way into this tournament is Solo Sikoa, Rusev, who Cena faced at WrestleMania 31, and The Miz. I think The Miz gets in this tournament as well. Because you got to think, you got to have people to lose in this tournament. Can't just have everybody that deserves to win. People are going to have to lose. So, not saying all 3 of those guys are going to lose right offhand, but I think they'll all 3 be in the tournament. Here's another interesting one. I think that there's a chance that either Braun Breaker or Bronson Reed is in this tournament. I don't think it's both. I think it's one or the other. And a lot of people, I think Sam Roberts predicted this. He wanted Braun Breaker to be seen as final opponent. That makes a lot of sense. Braun Breaker makes a lot of sense. If I had my choice, I would put Breaker in this tournament over Reed. Well, maybe it depends on where you're going with Breaker and you don't want him to lose right now. So maybe Reed's the one that gets in the tournament. We'll see. Here's an interesting name that hasn't really had a run-in with John Cena, but could be a guy who could get in there and lose. Finn Balor. That could be cool. With Finn Balor in the tournament. How about LA Knight? Lots of people want to see John Cena face LA Knight. They tagged at one point. Special referee situation. I'd put LA Knight in this tournament. So I think I've got 3 spots left. 3 spots. Here we go. Excuse me. The other 3 spots are going to belong to the people that don't work here. Now, Joe Hendry, obviously, he's one that doesn't work here, but 3 spots for people that don't work in WWE. Matt Cardona. He's going to get a spot. And Batista, I mentioned him earlier, is going to get a spot. Chris Jericho, I think he does get a spot. in this tournament. And ultimately, if I had the pencil, Chris Jericho would win this tournament. And Chris Jericho would be the one to face John Cena at Saturday night's main event. Now, I just gave you 15 names. I missed one. And this one is somebody that nobody has talked about being John Cena's final opponent. Yet John Cena has some history with. And he would be a fantastic final opponent. I don't think WWE will go this way, but that'd be really smart to go this way, actually. What I would like to see, not necessarily if I had the pencil, I don't know if I would book it this way, but my pick for John Cena's opponent, what I'd like to see the most is the final man in this tournament, and that is Roman Reigns. I think the tribal chief gets in this tournament. I think that can further the story with Jey Uso. I think Roman could win the tournament and beat John Cena. Now you're going to ask me, Chris, how does that help Roman Reigns? Well, I'll answer it the same way that we like to answer the why did Brock Lesnar beat the streak? Brock didn't need it. So Roman doesn't need this. Well, Brock Lesnar is not the Brock Lesnar that he is today if he doesn't beat the streak. Roman Reigns already has this aura about him. He's already one of the most popular, if not the most popular superstars on the roster. So why would he need to beat John Cena? Well, to push him into that stratosphere, to push him back into that main event picture. So I think Roman Reigns is a fantastic choice. I think Chris Jericho is a fantastic choice. But the problem again with Jericho and Batista, like I mentioned earlier, you're going to lose the spark of them being back in WWE by having them come out 4 times before they even face John Cena. So, that being said, that rumor a long time ago about Gunther winning this tournament seems much more likely. So Gunther probably wins it. I think Roman Reigns is the best choice to win it. I think if I had to pick, Jericho would win it. There's 3 scenarios. Maybe none of them happen. Who knows? Who knows? But the countdown is on to December the 13th in John Cena's final match, Saturday night's main event. All right. Speaking of Saturday night's main event, 3 more matches tonight to go that we're going to quickly recap. But before we do, let's take a pause for the cause and hear a little word from the Reverend Tom Bryce about SportsWire Radio.
Looking for all the latest happenings in the world of sports and wrestling? Well, you're in luck because SportsWire Radio has you covered 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, and 365 days a year. With great shows in the world of sports, such as the Pinstripe Chronicles, hosted by Uncle Tats, Donald Stewart, and Rob Barrows. New York Baseball Talk with Chris Bazaya and Rob Maraska. The Liftoff Jets, also hosted by Chris Bazaya and Sharman Phillip. Neil Villapiano and the Devil's State of Mind. Randy Dillon's Hockey Fan Chat. In the world of wrestling, SportsWire Radio has you covered with Squared Circle Radio, featuring Chris Belcher, Andy York, and Jared Justice. Those sit-down marks with DB, Primo, AJ, and Michael. A work in progress, featuring the Mayor of Canton, Piles, and Glenn Abbott. You can catch all of these great shows and more anytime, anywhere, and any place via the Listen Live button on SportsWireRadio.org, and you can also catch SportsWire Radio anytime on YouTube at SportsWire Radio 6579 to catch all the latest happenings in the world of wrestling. SportsWire Radio has you covered. It's all sports matters and all wrestling matters here on SportsWire Radio. I am your host, the owner of SportsWire Radio, the #1 global radio station, the owner of the Promo Wrestling Federation, and one of the owners of the Pride Wrestling Federation. Your voice, figuratively and literally, where all wrestling matters, the Reverend Tom Bryce.
Thank you, Tom. Thank you to SportsWire Radio for your partnership, all that you have done for Squared Circle Radio over the last several years. We appreciate you so very much. We appreciate all of you, whether you tuned in live. If you are, drop those comments, drop those questions in the chat. Speaking of comments, City Kitty in the chat, Roman Reigns is an interesting choice. I could see working in that scenario. Yeah, I mean, nobody's talking about Roman. Like, nobody online is talking about Roman being John Cena's final opponent. And I don't understand it. I don't understand it. City Kitty would add Montez Ford. Oh, that's a fun one. I like the idea of Montez Ford being in there. I really do. I mean, I think he would be in there to lose, to put somebody over. But I like I hope, City Kitty, by you saying that, I hope that John Cena does a thing where it's almost like he announces that he is handpicking all 16 of these guys. He may have said it in that promo tonight and I missed it, but I hope that Cena says, I'm picking these guys myself. I think that would be really cool. So, with that being said, Montez Ford being an excellent choice, he could say a guy that I see potential in, a guy that, blah, 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 whatever. One name that I did leave out was Dominik Mysterio. And I know a lot of people want Dominik Mysterio to be in this tournament. I think you have Dominik face Cena in one of these Raw matches or at Survivor Series, and that just kind of takes him out of the tournament. So that's why I wouldn't put him in there. I think we see that. It's something to think about too. We probably have 3 Cena matches left before this final one. I'm assuming he's going to wrestle on the Boston Raw, MSG Raw, and then, of course, a Survivor Series. So we'll see who they put him in there with for those shows. All right. Again, if you're watching live, drop those comments, questions, thoughts. I will take those. If you're listening on replay or you're watching on replay, drop those comments anyway. I'll get back to each and every one of those. Had a couple of comments come through on some videos this week and had some great conversations with people. Picked up some new subscribers because of that. Thank you so much. If you're new to the show, you're watching and you haven't already, hit that subscribe button. It doesn't hurt you at all. Doesn't cost you a thing. And it helps us a ton. All right. Let's continue to break it down. I mentioned Dominik Mysterio, the Intercontinental Champion, retains in a triple threat match against Penta and Rusev. And what a fun match it was. Really clever to use the ring bell hammer in the finish. Dom ringing the bell in the accolade was just hilarious. And the fact that Rusev sold that thing hook, line, and sinker. It was hilarious. I loved it so much. Literally was laughing out loud. It was so good. Yeah, this match was really, really entertaining. It really was. The one thing that I will be upset about in this match is I had this spot in my head that I wanted to see happen that didn't happen. I thought it would have been great for Rusev to lock in the accolade on Penta and Penta to be crawling to the ropes, crawling, and get ever so close to the ropes. And then here comes Dominik, and Dominik does the 619 and hits them both, maybe knocks Rusev out of the ring, does the frog splash on Penta and pins Penta to win the match. I don't know. That would have been cool to me. Because the way you have them positioned, Dom could have kicked them both doing the 619 through the ropes. I thought that would have been pretty cool. But what do I know? Only one time, interesting stat from Michael Cole tonight, only one time has the Intercontinental Championship changed hands in the history of Saturday night's main event. Only one time in 16 title defenses. And that one time was what we talked about on Monday's show, the anniversary of this. It was the Heartbreak Kid Shawn Michaels, 1992. Won the championship from the British Bulldog. So that streak continues now, 17 defenses. And only one Intercontinental Championship change. So Dominik Mysterio getting the win here. Has had that title since WrestleMania. Congrats to him, of course. A really fun match. It really, really was. Jade Cargill, the new women's champion. Finally. She's still green as grass. She's still not a fantastic wrestler. But this new heel persona, this physically dominating persona that she has, it's time for her to win the championship. I'm glad they finally pulled the trigger. Tiffany Stratton selling the knee injury, making it that much easier for Jade to just beat her down. I thought this match was exactly what it should have been. Maybe even should have been shorter. I don't know. But Jade Cargill finally winning. I think it's great for both ladies. I'm not going to speak too much on this match because it just kind of was what it was. Excuse me there. Kind of was what it was, but Jade Cargill now in a great spot as a heel champion, as a dominating heel champion. Maybe Tiffany chases her. Maybe she doesn't. Maybe we get a Charlotte Flair versus Jade Cargill finally. I said it on the Monday show. I think we're building absolutely to a Bianca Belair versus Jade Cargill WrestleMania match. City Kitty alive in the chat. Jade was on it. It was a good match. Yeah, it was. It was exactly what it needed to be. Those ladies did exactly what they should have done in that match. And I think this is great for Tiffany. You know, City Kitty, I think you alluded to this on the show on Monday when you were live in the chat with us. I think it's time for something else for Tiffany Stratton. We've rode this wave of momentum since the beginning of the year with her as champion, and she's been a fine champion. It was time for her to be champion. But I don't know, after the Charlotte WrestleMania fiasco, it just didn't seem exciting with Tiffany as champion. I think she's one of those baby faces that needs to chase the title, or she needs to be a heel as champion. So, congrats to Jade Cargill, as she is now the women's champion on SmackDown. Be interested to see what they do with both ladies following this match. All right. The opening match of the show. Nice guys finish last. And then Cody Rhodes shows up. And he finishes first. Cody Rhodes retains the WWE Championship over Drew McIntyre in a very controversial manner. Now, you know, it's very common for baby faces to do heel things when the referee's down. And normally people eat it up. Normally people get excited about it. But when Cody DDT'd Drew on the championship, and when he was lining up for Crossroads, there was some boos. There were a few boos. But it was not a heel turn. Cody immediately checked on the referee after the match was over, held the title up to the fans. I think we're still okay with babyface Cody right now, but the tide could be turning. I don't know for sure. The tide could be turning. Thought the match was a whole lot of fun. Much better than the WrestlePalooza match. Went back and forth quite a bit. And ultimately, the champ prevails. Again, I think we're probably setting up for another match at Survivor Series where there's no rules, where Cody can't break the rules. Drew's going to complain about Cody breaking the rules, fainting the knee injury, all of those kind of things. So probably a last man standing match, if I had to bet. But I don't know if you would do another gimmick match at Survivor Series with 2 War Games matches, but you might. We'll see. I don't know. City Kitty live in the chat. I was shocked it was the first match. Drew will still complain that he was robbed. That's right. As I said it on the podcast on Monday, this is his gimmick. His gimmick is to tell the truth and have people hate it. And his gimmick is to just chase the championship. That's what he does. That's what Drew does. That's what drives his character. That's why I said on the Monday show, I'm not sure what they do with Drew if he is the champion, because so much of his character is wrapped up in not being champion. So yes, City Kitty, I was shocked that it was the first match too, but when we found out it was the first match, I knew that Cody Rhodes was retaining the championship. I didn't know how, but I knew that he wasn't dropping the belt. No Randy Orton. I predicted Randy Orton. We didn't get any Randy Orton. I was very sad about that. Very sad. So what's next for both of these guys? Well, obviously, I think I said it. I think we're going to have another match between these two. Cody likes to have these big feuds in series of 3 matches. So I think Drew will get another shot. Specifically, I do think Drew gets in the John Cena tournament. Maybe he wins it. That would be a good final opponent for Cena. Really would. But I don't know. Maybe they both get more games. I don't see that happening, but maybe. War Games field is very interesting. We're going to talk about that coming up on the next few episodes, how we're building. Not sure who's going to be in the War Games match. Hopefully we'll get some more clarity on that, because it looks like it could be a Wyatt 6 situation, an MFT situation. You got the Vision against Roman Reigns and CM Punk superpowers, and I don't know. Which show is going to have the women's War Games? I don't know. We'll speculate on War Games over the next couple episodes, but Cody Rhodes, Drew McIntyre, I fully expect a third match between these two. All right. One more swig of Mountain Dew before we get out of here. I guess I probably could have finished the show without doing that, but I was thirsty. All right. Appreciate you guys being tuned in with us on this Saturday night's main event recap episode here on Squared Circle Radio Live. Again, if you're listening to the replay on podcast, follow on whatever platform that you're on. Leave us that 5-star review. We would appreciate that so much. If you're on the YouTube channel, like the video. It's that little thumbs up button on the bottom. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. We would appreciate that so much. We're not going to send you an email. We're not going to bombard you with anything. It helps us so much. So we just ask very kindly that you hit that subscribe button and tell a friend. Share the show on your social media. It's the best way to build this community and make this fun conversation when we're live. We would appreciate that so very much. We're live coming up on Monday. So about 48 hours from now, we're going to go live following Monday Night Raw for our regular weekly episodes. So be sure you're tuned in for that as well. City Kitty tuning in with us each and every show. Did Damian Priest take the last championship away from Drew? Yes. The last title that Drew held was when he beat Rollins at WrestleMania 40, and Damian Priest cashed in on him. It's the last time Drew McIntyre was champion of any kind. The time before that, he won the title back from Randy Orton during the pandemic and then lost it to Bobby Lashley. And he has not been world champion outside of those times, except for when he beat Brock at WrestleMania during the pandemic, and then he lost to Randy and then got it back from Randy. So, long time coming for Drew to be champion, but it's a lot of fun when he's not champion because it just drives him, and it's great. All right, we're going to talk more about Drew McIntyre, talk more about Cody Rhodes, John Cena, the new World Heavyweight Champion, CM Punk. Lots to cover coming up on Monday's episode, but we appreciate you guys being tuned in live on this instant reaction show to Saturday night's main event. Thank you so much for being with us. My name is Chris Belcher, and until we are together next Monday, we will see you